Good morning, everybody. This is the Barbecue Cop coming back at you guys with another very quick video. First, I want to say thank you to all the people who subscribe and watch the channel. I know I don't put up a lot of content like some folks do. I really don't have the time to do that. I'm working on that because barbecue is certainly one of my passions. Just got a lot of other things in front of it right now. But I wanted to kind of do a quick video to address a few things that some folks, some questions that folks had left in the comment section. And believe me, guys, if you leave a message, I'm going to do my best to respond to you as quickly as possible. I get notices on my phone when somebody sends one, and if I'm not busy, I try to go ahead and respond right then because I know that I'll forget. And I know I don't think there's anybody I haven't responded to yet. Even the negative stuff, you know, haven't had many of those. Maybe one or two folks that left some negative comments, but you know, everybody's got a right to their opinion, and I don't disagree with that at all. So I welcome, you know, any comments. I'm certainly not here to say that I'm you know, barbecue pro. I'm trying to learn just like you guys are learning. You know, but at the same time, I have gotten to a level where I feel like I'm putting out some really good barbecue that people respect. So, but anyway, one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, you know, the first video I put out was in 2016, and it was for the modification of the Oklahoma Joe. And that's still today, that's my highest viewed video. It's 30-something thousand views on it. And I'm still surprised at even that number. You know, many people were really interested in it, but it shows you how interested people are in the brand and how things are. So one of the questions that that made that video so popular when it first came out was, I think I was probably one of the first folks to put up a video with the smoker box welded to the actual unit. You know, if you got an Oklahoma Joe, that there are bolts that go into it, and you know, there's all kind of gaskets and stuff that's out there. You know, but one thing that I noticed when I was looking for a smoker is that all of the better quality smokers had you know, the smoker box was welded to the unit. So I had some connections and I had that done, and that was back in 2016. Of course, it's 2021 now, and the question that I get asked a lot in the comment section is, how is it holding up? And that's what this video is about here today, to show you guys exactly how it's holding up. I'm also going to show you some modifications that I made over the years, and things that I've changed since that first video, and even since some of the videos that I've done, you know, smoking. I've certainly learned a lot over the years. I watch a lot of barbecue pit masters. It's a lot of little tidbits and secrets that you can get off of that when you you know, when you really pay attention to it, as well as, you know, just getting out here trying it, you know. And that's exactly what I plan on doing this evening, is getting out and trying a little something different. So if it works out good, I record it so everybody can see it. Most of you guys know I love chicken, I love beef ribs, I love turkey, that kind of stuff. I don't eat pork for health reasons because of the saltiness of it. So my family has a history of high blood pressure, and I try to avoid it. But I do love to still cook ribs and those kinds of things. I cook them all the time for my family. So and I've got, you know, several videos with that as well. But today we want to concentrate on the modifications and how they've held up. All right, first thing I want to show you guys is the actual weld itself. Now, again, this was done back in 2016. And you can see it's still holding up like a champ. I'm not one of those guys that, you know, feels like I gotta go and spray paint my unit to keep it shiny black. You know, if you're one of those folks, I'm not disrespecting you at all, and I hope you don't take it that way. I just don't really have that kind of time to do that kind of maintenance to it to keep it going. But the weld itself is doing great. I mean, if it was painted, you probably couldn't even tell that it was there. But it is holding up very well. I haven't had any issues whatsoever out of it, any part of it. It does not leak smoke at all. It holds the heat in very well. And even my guy, if you can see here, when he welded it, he still put the screws and everything in it just like it is to hold it in place to make sure it was good and tight. And then he welded it from there. So that was a really good addition for me. And I have had zero issues with with this at all. Look here on the top, there is some rust from the heat. I made a mistake one day and was washing my truck and splashed a little water on it, and that water instantly heated up and made that little swell that's on the top. Now, it's still level, it just kind of ate more of the paint off of the heat and the water interacting with each other. But you know, that's going to happen. This is the hottest part of the cooker, you know, in this box. So, you know, the paint that's fading off of it is something I can just scratch off and repaint. But again, I'm not that guy. I don't plan on doing that unless it, you know, messes with the performance, which I seriously doubt that it will. I'm not one of those guys, again, that's got to have a cute grill. I just wanted to, you know, smoke the way that it's supposed to and do the things that it, you know, it should. So outside of that, I'm very happy with it. Also here, you can see these gaskets are still holding up. You know, it's been since 2016 when I put these things on, and they still work like a champ. I lose very little smoke when I lock this thing down. Also, these locks I got from Harbor Freight are doing great as well. The same exact thing. I haven't had to replace them. And I think even on this one's got 2 bolts on it. This is the one. I only put 1 bolt in it. It swivels, but it still works fine. I've always just had 1 bolt in it. I don't know why I didn't finish putting the other one in. Maybe just was ready to cook or something. I don't know, but it's been that way since 2016 when I put it on. I haven't had any issue with it whatsoever. The smokestack and all, everything's working great with that. Let's talk about the changes that I made to it. One of the first changes I want to show you guys is, let's start here. All right, on the inside here, I always keep me a set of old tongs like here. I kind of move my stuff around. This plate that I have here in my hand was one of the original things that, you know, it was a rack that was in here. I kind of took this and made it for something else, and I'll show you here in just a second. But I had a Firebox made here, and I ended up cutting it down. And let me tell you why I did that. Because it was tall enough to fit, you know, up to this space here. But I ended up having to cut down because one of the things, and this was actually something that I saw on Mo K-Son, where he was with the new smoker that he just had custom built. And I'm a big fan of Mo and all of his work. And I love his seasonings, guys. I use those all the time when I barbecue and get rave reviews from it. But one of the things that I do that I saw what he did was, you know, I got a video that talks about fire management. And I think a lot of us that are in this, once you realize and get fire management down, that's when you really start putting out some good barbecue. You know, I see these, you know, a lot of new folks, and I was the same way when I started. That thick white billowing smoke, you know, it doesn't leave a good taste on your meat. You know, it should be a thin blue like smoke that's coming out of your stack. But anyway, I saw a video with Mo where he fired his up and the coals in it were really hot, and he had, you know, the wood that was sitting on top of it was burning efficiently. And that's where you get your really, really good, you know, smoke from. So I thought about it and I said, man, let me just cut my basket in half. And that's what I do when I get ready to cook. I'll fill this basket up with coals up until this point. And then I'll simply get this one and put on top of it like so. And then when I get ready to do my wood, I just sit my wood on top of it. That way the wood is not sitting directly on the coals or on the, you know, whatever you're cooking with. And it gives it room to breathe. You know, most of the time that white billowing smoke comes from your wood not getting enough oxygen. So if you're choking the oxygen supply off by just sitting a piece of wood in there and it doesn't have any room to breathe, that's where you start getting that thick white billowing smoke. So since I've been doing this has really worked out great for me. I haven't had any issues with, you know, wood burning the way that it should efficiently. A log will keep me 2.5, 3 hours sometimes. Sometimes that's a whole cook for me, because I don't usually cook a whole lot unless I'm doing something for the family later on or something, or a big thing for the family. So, but that usually lasts me. And if I need to get more fuel, then of course I just get my tongs here lift this up, move the wood out of the way, add more coals into it, or the wood chunks or whatever it is that I'm using is my fuel source. Put it back down, and once I put it down, then I'm back to cooking again. So I usually cook here. As you can see, I usually leave my door open. If I need to, I kind of adjust my wind from there, how much air I want to get into it. But normally I'll leave it open now. I think that seems to work better for me to keep the draft going, to get enough oxygen in it to get that fire where it's burning nice and smooth. So the clamps here are working very well. Again, same ones from Harbor Freight from 2016. Haven't had any issues, and these guys are in the fire all the time. I mean, these things they get really hot once you clamp it down. So you have to be careful with those, but they're working fine. I haven't had to replace them. I haven't had any issues whatsoever with them. So very happy with that. All right, we move over here to the main cooking chamber. And you can see that I think I may have made a video about this already, but I saw a guy, and I cannot remember what his name is. I certainly don't want to take credit for something I didn't do. If I remember it, I'll try to link his video in this. But he custom made a upper level shelf in his Oklahoma Joe. And not only did he do that, he made it where it's removable. And I thought that was really impressive. So when I saw it, I got with a welder and, kind of sketched it out for what I was looking for. We took some dimensions and we were able to duplicate that. Now, I think there's something already out there. I know in one of the videos that I put up, somebody from one of these commercial places put something up saying that they've already got something like that. I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm not selling this stuff. So it did bad to me that they put it up. But just to let you know, there is another alternative out there. Instead of trying to do this yourself, there is something that's out there. You just have to kind of search a little bit to find it. But this works great for me. And I'm going to tell you what I love about this. It's removable. So all the pieces, and I'll take them out here in just a few minutes and just show you. You can take all of the stuff out of this thing and put just a regular grill grate back into it if you wanted to. That's what's so good about all of it. You can, modify it without modifying it, so to speak. So if I got a lot of chicken or whatever it is that I want to cook, then I just go on here and, put this setup in here. Then I can, cook twice as much stuff in there at the same amount of time. So this top shelf here will slide out. Okay. You can see back here, I'll give you some room. And it sits on these two shelves that are here. One's right here, the other's right here, and both of those will come out as well. So, and then you got the bottom rack here, and pick this up and slide it out. And you got, plenty of grilling space here on this as well. So, this almost doubles the capacity of this grill, the smoker, and, has it where if you got a big party or you need to cook more stuff, you can just go ahead and install this stuff. If you're doing something quick just for your family, then you could take it all out, or you can leave it in and just take the top rack off, cook with the bottom, or put your original stuff back in. I still got my original stuff as well that I use from time to time. So, this has really, really worked great for me. I know when I get ready to cook and I do things, it's outstanding. I love it. It's a really great modification, very simple and easy to do. And it was something that, I highly recommend to anybody else who's interested in it. For the sake of the guy, I don't know if the other guy who came up with this concept, if he's selling it or not. Somebody asked me for the dimensions. Honestly, I don't mind giving them. I just haven't because I don't want to, if he's making money from it, I'm not trying to, I'm not interested in that kind of stuff, but I hate to knock somebody else who's put something out, and he didn't give the dimensions either. I just figured it out by making the measurements and looking at what he did, but the idea certainly came from him. No question about that. So that's the only reason I don't want to give the dimensions out. He may be, patented it or trying to make money from it in some kind of way. So, all right, so we take these out and sit them to the side. I'll show you guys down here. All right, so down in my cook chamber, I've changed a few things as well. This is a part of a baffle plate that I made. This is actually the second half of it. And I kind of changed things around with it. Instead of having you know, the two pieces in there. This is actually the second piece that goes further back. If you got a baffle plate, you know that the smaller holes go up towards the front. You know, the bigger holes go towards the back. So I kind of spun it around the other way. Then this is the second piece of it. It's two pieces. So I took the first piece out because it was so thick when I had it made. It kind of takes a long time to warm up, and sometimes you just don't have that, and it sucks a lot of heat away as well. I don't care for that either. So I started doing this little deal here where this is slid up against, you can see here, right against that opening in the firebox. So it helps with the regulation of the heat without taking so much heat away from everything else. And that's what I love about this. This works great for me, this little setup. I also have a water pan here that I keep inside the smoker to help keep some moisture inside the chamber, so I don't have any of those you know, drying out issues. I keep the pan full. Usually through one cook, it'll last the whole entire time through the cook itself. Here, you know, these are the rails, and again, you know, you can see they're movable, so I can take them out if I wanted to, and you know, be able to put them you know, take them out just to put the original set back up in here if I wanted to. But I doubt if I'll do that. Again, you know, if I don't need the top shelf, I'll leave it out. If I'm cooking with it, I'm good. And you can line the top shelf with it as much as you want. Also, down here at the bottom, you see I keep some aluminum foil to keep those drippings. So when I get ready to cook, I can just pull that up and throw it away and put a new piece down. And that usually holds and takes care of the bottom of this thing. So, all in all, you know, really pleased with everything, guys. It's, you know, it's really held up well. Haven't had any issues with anything. Holds the heat very well, you know. And the biggest thing for me was, again, learning that fire management and keeping all those things together. You know, once you learn fire management, I'm telling you, it becomes really easy from that point. You know, most of the time I'm just coming out to spritz to keep my meat moist, and you know, keeping my temperature right. I still got my ThermoPro, so I don't have it here in this video, but I still use it religiously. That way I can, you know, probe a piece of meat that's closest to the fire and be able to monitor it. So I know, you know, that wherever that piece is, the rest of it's got to be at that point or less if it's further away from the fire. And I don't have to keep, you know, running back out here every few minutes, open it up. You know, one thing they say that I certainly agree with, you know, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. So, you know, I open no more than once an hour to try to spritz. So if I see that there's a problem, if temperature's dropping, whatever, you know, deal with those issues. But most of the time, you know, I can get a cook in and open it very little and get some really good results. I took out I had one of those things that drew the, you know, the heat out. I guess one of those air ducts a lot of folks put in. It wouldn't work right with the setup that I have. But again, I still don't have any issues with draft or any of that stuff. All of that is working fine. You can see over here, I went to Lowe's and I got me a little drip pan. So, you know, something to catch those drippings in. It's time to empty that. But that works great too. So even when you clean it out, you know, you have something to catch that stuff first, the excess, and be able to dump it. And then, you know, so you don't get that stuff on your driveway or wherever that you got it. Also, I want to show you this real quick too, guys. I moved the temperature gauge. The temperature gauge on this one was right here, and I ended up moving it down here. And let me tell you why I did that. I moved it because I wanted it closer to the grate. And you see here, I bumped it a little bit coming in, but I wanted it closer to the grate. And, you know, the thing what most people don't realize, especially in smokers like this, you know, smoker is just like heat in a house. The higher up it is, the hotter it is. So if you notice in your house, if you got upstairs, usually the upstairs is a lot hotter than the downstairs is. That's because heat rises. It's the same way in these smokers. So if you're cooking something on the top rack, realize that's going to cook a lot faster than the stuff is going to cook on the bottom rack, even though the bottom rack is closer to the fire. You know, the stuff on the top is going to cook a lot faster. So when I probe stuff, that's where I'm checking stuff. You know, if I got something I want to kind of crisp up, I'm putting it on the top because I know it's, you know, the heat's rising, it's hotter up there, and I can, you know, do those kinds of things on that top rack. Or if it's something I need to cook quickly, or that I know that's going to cook faster than everything else, then I put that stuff on the top rack as well. So, but the thermostat here gets me the temperature closer to the grate. So I use the thermoprobe on the top to be able to get that temperature, and I use this to get my temperature that's closer to the actual grate on the bottom. And it's pretty close. You know, it's not exact 100%, but it's pretty close. So the only thing that I would advise, I drilled another hole to do this. Make sure you get some Teflon tape or something else, because there is a little smoke that comes out of the backside of it. It's just very little. I just haven't had time to do it. And honestly, it's not even enough to really bother me to have to do it. But if you do it, just make sure you get some Teflon tape, and that'll stop that where you won't see any of the little smoke that rises out of it. You know, but again, guys, the clamps, everything else is working great. I went to a parts place locally and got another one of these little things to close this hole up. And something else about this too, if you move this and you need a plug to replace it, I highly recommend that you go to a piping place. This is not a regular thread where you can go to AutoZone or one of those kinds of places. And I can't, if I remember it again, I'll try to put it at the bottom of the video. But I went to a piping place. I just, you know, popped this one out to get the thread count. And when I finally figured it out, it's not a regular thread count. It's like a piping kind of thread. So, you know, you have to go to a piping place to get another one of those. But fortunate enough, you know, I found a guy who was law enforcement friendly, thank God, which, I mean, it wasn't been much anyway, but he just gave it to me. So, you know, I did have to go to a piping place to get it. So if you're replacing that like I'm doing here to get it closer to the grate, just make sure that you go to a piping place, because you won't be able to go to AutoZone or whatever your local parts place is to get it. All right, going around the back here, you can see the weld from welding the whole box together on the back side. Again, it's still holding up, no issues, not losing any smoke. The welds here are doing well. You know, all in all, guys, I'm not having any issues, you know. So, you know, if to answer whoever question it was that asked, that said they were in the market for an Oklahoma Joe, they were thinking about getting one, would I get one? Absolutely. I'm very happy with it. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Hope you got a good understanding from this. And I may just have to get out here and fire this thing up, since I got it all out to let you guys see it. So, good smoking. Be careful out there, guys. You know, from the barbecue cow, make sure that you look out for yourself, look out for your family. If you own firearms, own them respectfully. Be respectful of your neighbors and the folks. Be careful with them, because they are dangerous. But definitely protect yourself and your family. Barbecue Cop is out.